The morning sun cast long shadows across the military training facility as Sarah Martinez adjusted the pink camouflage wrap on her rifle. The custom coating had been a gift from her younger sister before deployment, a reminder of home painted in rose gold and coral patterns that shimmered against the standard black metal. Around her, the sound of boots on gravel and morning preparations filled the air as the Special Operations Unit prepared for another day of training, exercises. Sarah had earned her place among the elite marksmen through years of dedication and countless hours on shooting ranges across 3 different states. Her journey began in a small Texas town where her grandfather, a Korean War veteran, had taught her to shoot tin cans off fence posts with an old .22 rifle. What started as weekend bonding had evolved into a passion that carried her through high school competitions, college ROTC programs, and eventually into military service. The transition from civilian competitions to military precision shooting had been challenging but rewarding. Sarah discovered that her natural steadiness and ability to control her breathing under pressure made her exceptionally suited for long-range marksmanship. Her instructors had noticed her talent early, recommending her for advanced sniper training, despite the skepticism some of her male counterparts initially showed. When the opportunity arose to join a joint training exercise with Navy SEALs, Sarah jumped at the chance. The exercise was designed to test interoperability between different special operations units, combining Army marksmen with SEAL reconnaissance teams for complex scenarios that might arise in real-world deployments. For Sarah, it represented the pinnacle of her training and a chance to prove herself among the military's most elite operators. The SEAL team she was assigned to work with had arrived 3 days earlier, and their reputation preceded them. Led by Chief Petty Officer Marcus Thompson, the 6-man team had completed multiple overseas deployments and earned numerous commendations for their work in high-risk environments. They were professional, experienced, and accustomed to working with only the best equipment and personnel. Sarah's first interaction with the team had been cordial but distant. The SEALs were polite but clearly focused on their own preparations and team dynamics. She understood this was natural, as trust and cohesion in special operations units typically developed over months or years of working together, not days of joint exercises. The pink rifle, however, had immediately drawn attention. During equipment inspection on the first day, several team members had exchanged glances when they saw her weapon. The rifle itself was a precision instrument, a military-grade platform modified with high-end optics and a custom stock that Sarah had adjusted to fit her frame perfectly. The performance specifications were identical to any other sniper rifle in the unit, but the unconventional appearance made it stand out dramatically against the sea of standard military colors. Chief Thompson had examined the rifle during initial briefings, running his hands along the barrel and checking the scope alignment with professional interest. He made no comment about the color, focusing instead on the technical aspects and Sarah's qualifications. His silence on the matter had been more telling than any critique might have been. The other team members were less diplomatic in their private conversations. Sarah overheard fragments of discussions about fashion statements and questions about whether someone who chose pink camouflage could be taken seriously in combat situations. The comments stung, but she had experienced similar reactions throughout her military career and had learned to let her performance speak louder than others' preconceptions. Training exercises began with standard marksmanship drills, progressing through increasingly complex scenarios that tested not just shooting accuracy, but decision-making under pressure. Target identification and coordination with ground teams. Sarah performed well in these initial tests, consistently hitting targets at distances that impressed even the experienced SEALs. Her pink rifle became a point of curiosity rather than mockery, as her accuracy scores consistently ranked among the top performers. The training facility sprawled across several thousand acres of varied terrain, designed to simulate different deployment environments. Rolling hills gave way to rocky outcroppings, dense forest sections bordered open fields, and artificial structures created urban warfare scenarios. This diversity allowed training teams to practice the full range of skills they might need in actual operations. Sarah found herself genuinely enjoying the collaborative aspects of the training. The SEALs' approach to problem-solving and their ability to adapt quickly to changing situations impressed her. She began to understand why these operators were considered among the world's best, watching as they seamlessly coordinated complex movements and communications while maintaining awareness of multiple variables simultaneously. Chief Thompson proved to be an excellent leader, maintaining discipline while fostering an environment where team members could contribute ideas and solutions. He had a way of extracting the best performance from everyone, while keeping the focus on mission objectives rather than individual egos. Sarah appreciated his straightforward communication style and his willingness to incorporate her input into tactical planning. The SEAL team's medic, Petty Officer Rodriguez, was the first to engage Sarah in casual conversation during a break between exercises. He asked about her background and training, showing genuine interest in her path to special operations. Through their conversation, Sarah learned that Rodriguez had also faced skepticism early in his career, though for different reasons, and he understood the importance of proving oneself through performance rather than appearances. As the days progressed, the training scenarios became more realistic and demanding. The teams practiced long-range reconnaissance missions, requiring them to move through challenging terrain while maintaining stealth and communication protocols. Sarah's role as the designated marksman meant she often operated from elevated positions, providing overwatch and precision fire support for the SEAL team's movements below. The pink rifle began to take on a different significance as the exercises continued. What had initially seemed like an unusual choice became a practical advantage in certain environments. The unconventional coloring helped break up the rifle's silhouette in ways that standard military colors sometimes failed to achieve, particularly in areas with reddish rock formations or during certain lighting conditions. Sarah's confidence grew with each successful exercise, and she began to feel more integrated with the team. The SEALs started including her more naturally in their planning discussions and tactical briefings. The informal barriers that had existed during the first few days gradually dissolved as mutual respect developed through shared challenges and successful mission completions. The training facility's commanding officer, Colonel Harrison, had been observing the joint exercises with interest. He recognized the value of these collaborative training opportunities and made regular visits to observe the team's progress. His presence added an additional layer of pressure, as everyone understood that their performance was being evaluated not just for the current exercise but for future operational assignments. Evening briefings became opportunities for the teams to discuss lessons learned and areas for improvement. Sarah found herself contributing more frequently to these sessions, offering insights from her unique perspective as both a precision marksman and someone experienced in working with different unit structures. The SEALs began to appreciate her analytical approach to problem-solving and her ability to identify potential improvements. In their tactical approaches, the stage was being set for increasingly complex challenges, and Sarah could sense that the real tests were yet to come. The fourth day of training brought a significant escalation in complexity and realism. Colonel Harrison announced during the morning briefing that the teams would be participating in a multi-day exercise designed to simulate a real-world reconnaissance and extraction mission. The scenario involved locating and neutralizing high-value targets in a simulated hostile environment while coordinating with multiple support elements. Sarah felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness as the details were explained. This exercise would test everything they had practiced over the previous days, but with the added pressure of extended operations and limited communication windows. The teams would be operating with minimal support, relying entirely on their training and each other to complete the mission successfully. The briefing room fell silent as intelligence officers presented detailed maps and satellite imagery of the target area. The terrain was challenging, featuring steep hills, dense vegetation, and multiple potential routes that could be used by enemy forces. Weather conditions were expected to be variable, with morning fog giving way to clear afternoon skies before evening storms moved through the region. Chief Thompson studied the maps intently, his experienced eye immediately identifying key terrain features and potential challenges. He pointed out several positions that would be ideal for observation posts, noting how the elevation changes could provide excellent fields of fire, while also creating dead zones where enemy movement might go undetected. Sarah found herself drawn into the tactical planning process, her marksman training helping her visualize angles and distances that would be critical for the mission's success. The target compound was located in a valley approximately 8 kilometers from their insertion point, requiring the team to traverse varied terrain while remaining undetected. Intelligence reports suggested the presence of multiple sentries and roving patrols, making stealth and careful timing essential for mission success. The extraction point was positioned on the opposite side of the valley, meaning the team would need to complete their mission and then move through potentially hostile territory to reach safety. Sarah's role in the mission was clearly defined but carried significant responsibility. She would provide overwatch from elevated positions, protecting the SEAL team during their approach and assault phases, while also gathering intelligence on enemy positions and movements. Her pink rifle, despite its unconventional appearance, was equipped with some of the most advanced optics available, allowing her to observe and engage targets at distances well beyond the range of standard infantry weapons. Equipment preparation took on new urgency as the teams prepared for extended field operations. Sarah carefully inspected every component of her rifle system, ensuring that her scope was properly zeroed and that her ammunition was sorted and marked for easy identification in low-light conditions. She packed additional cleaning supplies and backup components, knowing that equipment failure during a critical moment could compromise the entire mission. The SEAL's preparation process was methodical and thorough, reflecting years of experience in similar operations. Each team member checked and rechecked their equipment, while also verifying the gear of their teammates. Sarah was impressed by their attention to detail and the way they systematically addressed every possible contingency that might arise during the mission. Radio protocols and communication procedures received special emphasis during the final briefing. The teams would be operating with limited communication windows to avoid detection, meaning that every transmission needed to be precise and essential. Sarah practiced the various call signs and brevity codes until they became second nature, understanding that clear communication could mean the difference between mission success and catastrophic failure. As evening approached, the teams conducted final rehearsals using scaled-down models of the target area. These dry runs allowed everyone to practice their movements and timing, while identifying any potential coordination issues before they became problems in the field. Sarah found these rehearsals invaluable, as they helped her understand exactly how the SEAL team planned to approach each phase of the mission and where her support would be most critical. The night before the mission launch, Sarah found herself unable to sleep despite her exhaustion. She lay in her bunk thinking through the various scenarios they had discussed, visualizing the terrain and mentally rehearsing her procedures for different situations. The weight of responsibility felt heavier now that the training was about to become as realistic as possible without actual combat. Chief Thompson made rounds through the team's temporary quarters, checking on each member and offering quiet words of encouragement. When he stopped by Sarah's bunk, he shared some insights from his previous deployments, emphasizing the importance of trusting her training and maintaining situational awareness throughout the mission. His calm confidence helped settle some of Sarah's pre-mission anxiety. Dawn brought crisp air and perfect visibility as the teams gathered for final equipment checks and mission briefings. Weather reports indicated ideal conditions for the first phase of the operation, with light winds and clear skies that would favor long-range observation and shooting. Sarah felt her nervousness transforming into focused determination as she shouldered her pack and secured her pink rifle in its carrying configuration. The insertion helicopter arrived precisely on schedule, its crew professional and efficient as they loaded the teams and their equipment. Sarah had participated in helicopter insertions during previous training exercises, but this felt different due to the extended duration and complexity of the mission ahead. The aircraft's engines created a steady vibration that she found oddly comforting as they lifted off and headed toward the target area. During the flight, Sarah reviewed her range cards and target reference points one final time. She had spent hours studying the terrain maps and calculating distances to various landmarks, creating detailed notes that would help her quickly engage targets or provide accurate reports on enemy positions. The pink rifle lay across her lap, its unconventional appearance now familiar and reassuring rather than concerning. The SEAL team members checked their equipment one last time during the flight, their movements economical and practiced. Sarah noticed how they seemed to enter a different mental state as the mission approached, becoming more focused and alert while maintaining the calm professionalism that marked elite operators. She tried to emulate their mindset, pushing aside distracting thoughts and concentrating on the tasks. Ahead, radio checks confirmed that all communication Systems were functioning properly and that the command post was receiving clear signals from the helicopter. The support elements that would be monitoring the mission from the operations center reported ready status, indicating that help would be available if the teams encountered unexpected problems or needed emergency extraction. As the helicopter approached the insertion point, Sarah could see the target area spread out below them. The terrain looked exactly as it had in the satellite imagery, but seeing it in person added a three-dimensional perspective that maps could not provide. She identified several of the key landmarks she had memorized and began mentally updating her range calculations based on the actual visual references. The insertion itself was executed flawlessly, with the helicopter touching down just long enough for the teams to disembark before lifting off and disappearing into the distance. Sarah felt a moment of isolation as the aircraft's sound faded, leaving them alone in what was now designated as hostile territory. The mission had officially begun, and there was no turning back until they reached the extraction point on the other side of the valley. Chief Thompson immediately established security, while the teams organized their equipment and confirmed their position using GPS coordinates. Sarah set up her rifle and began scanning the surrounding area through her scope, looking for any signs of enemy activity or unexpected terrain features that might affect their planned route. The pink camouflage pattern seemed to blend surprisingly well with the rocky outcroppings and scattered vegetation of their landing zone. The first few hours of the mission proceeded according to plan, as the team moved carefully through the rough terrain toward their initial observation position. Sarah found herself impressed by the SEALs' movement techniques, watching as they seemed to flow across the landscape like shadows, maintaining perfect spacing and communication while covering ground efficiently. Her own movement with the heavier sniper rifle required different techniques, but her training had prepared her well for the physical demands of carrying precision equipment over long distances. The morning fog that intelligence had predicted began lifting as they reached their first waypoint, revealing a landscape that was both beautiful and tactically challenging. Rolling hills covered in scattered trees and rocky outcroppings provided numerous concealment opportunities, but also created blind spots where enemy forces could approach undetected. Sarah made mental notes of these areas, knowing that her elevated position would later allow her to monitor the dead zones that the ground team could not observe. Chief Thompson called for a brief halt at a position that offered good visibility of the route ahead while providing concealment from potential observation posts in the target area. Sarah used the brake to adjust her equipment and confirm her GPS position, ensuring that her calculations for the various waypoints remained accurate. The pink rifle had performed flawlessly during the movement, with its custom sling system distributing the weight comfortably across her shoulders and back. Radio protocol required minimal communication during movement phases, but the team maintained constant awareness of each other's positions through hand signals and visual contact. Sarah had practiced these silent communication methods extensively, but using them in realistic terrain while managing her specialized equipment added layers of complexity that classroom training could not fully replicate. As they approached the target valley, the terrain became more demanding. Steep slopes and loose rock required careful footing, while the need to remain undetected meant that speed had to be balanced against noise discipline. Sarah found that her pink rifle's distinctive appearance actually helped the SEAL team members track her position during movements through dense vegetation, where traditional camouflage patterns might have made her difficult to locate. The team reached their planned observation position ahead of schedule, finding an excellent vantage point that provided clear sight lines into the target compound while offering multiple escape routes if their position was compromised. Sarah immediately began setting up her shooting position, using natural features and available cover to create a stable platform for long-range observation and potential engagement. Through her high-powered scope, Sarah could see the target compound clearly for the first time. The intelligence briefings had been accurate regarding the basic layout, but observing the actual facility revealed details that satellite imagery could not capture. Guard positions, vehicle movements, and daily routines became apparent as she maintained careful observation over several hours. The SEAL team established a patrol base nearby, positioning themselves to provide security for Sarah's position while maintaining their own observation capabilities. Chief Thompson coordinated the team's activities through whispered communications and hand signals, ensuring that everyone understood their roles and responsibilities for this phase of the mission. The professionalism and coordination impressed Sarah, who had worked with various military units, but had never experienced this level of tactical excellence. Hours of patient observation revealed patterns in the compound's security procedures that would be crucial for planning the assault phase. Sarah documented guard rotations, vehicle schedules, and other activities in a detailed log that would be shared with the team during their next planning session. Her training had emphasized the importance of thorough intelligence gathering, and she found satisfaction in contributing valuable information to the mission's success. Weather conditions remained favorable throughout the day, with clear skies providing excellent visibility, while moderate temperatures kept equipment from overheating. Sarah had positioned herself to take advantage of natural shade that would conceal her position, while preventing sun glare from reflecting off her scope lenses. The pink camouflage pattern continued to prove surprisingly effective, blending with the reddish rock formations better than anyone had anticipated. Communication windows with the command post allowed the team to report their progress and receive updates on the overall exercise scenario. Other units were operating in adjacent areas, creating a complex tactical situation that required careful coordination to avoid friendly fire incidents or interference with parallel missions. Sarah monitored these communications carefully, understanding that the broader tactical picture could affect their own mission parameters. Evening brought new challenges as lighting conditions changed and the compound's activities shifted to nighttime routines. Sarah adjusted her optics and observation techniques accordingly, using thermal imaging capabilities and low-light vision enhancement to maintain effective surveillance. The transition from daylight to darkness required careful attention to equipment settings and personal techniques that she had practiced extensively but never applied in such realistic conditions. The SEAL team rotated security responsibilities throughout the night, ensuring that fresh eyes were always scanning for potential threats, while allowing team members to rest in preparation for the next day's assault phase. Sarah maintained her observation post with minimal breaks, understanding that intelligence gathering was her primary contribution to the mission's success, and that any lapse in coverage could miss critical information. During the quiet hours before dawn, Sarah found herself reflecting on how far she had come since the mission began. The initial skepticism about her pink rifle now seemed insignificant compared to the professional respect she was earning through competent performance. The SEAL team members had begun including her more naturally in their tactical discussions, recognizing her contributions and treating her as a valued team member rather than an attached asset. Chief Thompson made his way to Sarah's position during one of the security rotations, checking on her status and discussing observations from the previous day. He expressed satisfaction with the intelligence she had gathered and confirmed that her information was proving valuable for refining their assault plans. The conversation reinforced Sarah's confidence in her role and her ability to contribute meaningfully to special operations missions. Dawn of the second day brought increased activity in the target compound. As the exercise scenario progressed according to the planned timeline, Sarah observed preparations that suggested the simulated enemy forces were planning their own operations, adding complexity to the tactical situation that the team would need to address during their assault. Her detailed observations provided early warning of these developments, allowing the SEAL team to adjust their plans accordingly. The pink rifle had now been in continuous use for over 24 hours, and Sarah was pleased with its performance under field conditions. The weapon's accuracy remained consistent, and the custom modifications she had made proved their worth in extended operations. Most importantly, the distinctive appearance that had initially drawn criticism was now recognized as a non-factor compared to the system's performance, and her skill in employing it effectively. Radio communications indicated that other elements of the exercise were progressing on schedule, and the team received confirmation that their assault phase would commence according to the original timeline. Sarah began making final preparations for her role in supporting the ground team's approach, checking ammunition supplies and confirming range calculations for the various target areas they had identified. The atmosphere among the team members shifted subtly as they prepared for the more dynamic and dangerous phase of their mission. The patient observation and intelligence gathering of the previous day was about to give way to rapid movement and potential combat, requiring different skills and mindset from all team members. Sarah felt her own mental state adjusting to meet these new demands, drawing on her training and growing confidence to prepare for whatever challenges lay ahead. The assault phase began before sunrise on the third day, with the SEAL team moving through the pre-dawn darkness toward their attack positions around the target compound. Sarah maintained her overwatch position on the high ground, her pink rifle now fitted with night vision optics that turned the dark landscape into a green-tinted world of shadows and movement. The weight of responsibility felt heavier now that the team was committing to their most dangerous phase of the mission. Through her scope, Sarah tracked the SEAL team's progress as they approached the compound using the infiltration routes they had identified during their reconnaissance. Chief Thompson's team moved with precision and stealth, taking advantage of every piece of cover and concealment while maintaining their coordinated approach to multiple entry points. The months of training and years of experience were evident in their fluid movements and split-second timing. Radio communications were kept to absolute minimum during the approach, with team members relying on predetermined signals and timing to coordinate their actions. Sarah monitored the tactical frequency, while maintaining her visual surveillance of both the target area and potential threat avenues that could compromise the assault team. Her elevated position provided perspectives that the ground team could not achieve, making her observations critical for their safety and success. The compound's morning routine was just beginning as the SEAL team reached their final assault positions. Sarah observed guards beginning their shift changes and noted the locations of various personnel who would need to be neutralized or avoided during the operation. Her detailed intelligence from the previous day now proved invaluable as the team implemented plans based on her careful observations of the facility's patterns and vulnerabilities. The first phase of the assault required the team to neutralize perimeter security without alerting the compound's interior defenses. Sarah watched through her scope as the SEALs approached their assigned targets with methodical precision, using stealth and coordination to overcome the outer ring of simulated enemy forces. The exercise ammunition and marking systems created realistic training effects while maintaining safety protocols for all participants. Sarah's role during this phase involved providing overwatch and early warning of any threats that might approach the assault team from unexpected directions. Her elevated position and long-range optics made her the team's eyes and ears for anything beyond their immediate tactical focus. The pink rifle's performance in low-light conditions proved excellent, with her scope maintaining clear target resolution even in the challenging lighting of early dawn. As the assault progressed into the compound's interior, Sarah shifted her focus to monitoring the surrounding area for potential reinforcements or escape attempts by high-value targets. The exercise scenario included various complications designed to test the team's adaptability and problem-solving abilities under pressure. Sarah found herself needing to make rapid decisions about priorities and target identification as the situation evolved dynamically. Communication protocols allowed for brief situation reports during the assault, and Sarah provided regular updates on her observations to keep the ground team informed of developing threats or opportunities. Her reports were concise and professional, focusing on actionable intelligence that could affect immediate tactical decisions. The training in brevity codes and clear communication proved essential for maintaining effective coordination under pressure. The SEAL team's assault techniques were impressive to observe, even through the limited perspective of her rifle scope. Their coordination and mutual support created overwhelming advantages against the simulated enemy forces, while their speed and aggression prevented effective resistance from developing. Sarah began to understand why these operators were considered among the world's most elite military forces, watching their theoretical training translate into practical tactical excellence. Midway through the assault phase, the exercise controllers introduced an unexpected complication designed to test the team's adaptability. Intelligence reports indicated that additional enemy forces were approaching the compound from a direction that had not been anticipated during planning. Sarah was the first to spot these reinforcements through her scope, providing early warning that allowed the assault team to adjust their tactics and timing accordingly. The approaching enemy force consisted of a vehicle convoy that could potentially trap the SEAL team inside the compound if not addressed quickly. Sarah calculated ranges and angles while reporting the threat's composition and estimated arrival time to Chief Thompson. Her ability to provide accurate real-time intelligence proved crucial for maintaining the initiative and preventing the mission from being compromised by unexpected developments. Chief Thompson's response to the new threat demonstrated the kind of tactical flexibility that made Special Operations Forces so effective. Rather than abandoning their primary mission, the team accelerated their assault timeline while repositioning elements to address the approaching reinforcements. Sarah received new instructions to shift her focus toward the incoming threat while maintaining awareness of the primary target area. The pink rifle's distinctive appearance became irrelevant, as Sarah focused entirely on the technical aspects of long-range observation and potential engagement. Her scope's magnification and clarity allowed her to identify specific details about the approaching vehicles and their occupants, providing intelligence that helped the ground team plan their response. The weapon's stability and accuracy would be crucial if engagement became necessary. Weather conditions remained favorable for the assault. With minimal wind and good visibility as the sun rose higher above the horizon, Sarah adjusted her position slightly to take advantage of changing light conditions while maintaining clear fields of observation and fire toward both the compound and the approach routes being used by enemy reinforcements. Her training in fieldcraft and camouflage kept her position concealed despite the ongoing activity below. The exercise scenario continued to evolve as the SEAL team completed their primary objectives within the compound while simultaneously preparing to deal with the approaching threat. Sarah's overwatch position provided the perfect vantage point for coordinating these multiple tactical challenges, and her communications became increasingly important for maintaining situational awareness across the entire area of operations. Radio traffic increased as the situation became more complex, but discipline and training kept communications clear and effective. Sarah found herself serving as a relay point for information between different elements of the operation, using her elevated position and communication equipment to help coordinate responses to the developing tactical situation. Her role was expanding beyond simple overwatch to become a critical node in the team's command and control network. The approaching enemy convoy presented multiple tactical challenges that would test every aspect of the team's training and equipment. Sarah began calculating engagement options while continuing to provide detailed reports on the threat's movement and capabilities. The pink rifle was ready for action if called upon, but her primary value remained in intelligence gathering and communication rather than direct engagement. As the convoy drew closer to the compound, Sarah could see that the timing would be critical for the SEAL team's success. They needed to complete their primary mission and begin their extraction before being trapped by the reinforcing enemy forces. Her observations and calculations would be essential for determining the exact moment when the ground team needed to begin their withdrawal to avoid being overwhelmed by superior numbers. The tension of the situation was palpable even from her distant observation position, and Sarah felt the weight of responsibility for providing accurate and timely information that could determine the mission's success or failure. The pink rifle that had once been a source of skepticism was now simply another tool in her professional arsenal, ready to serve whatever role the mission demanded. The approaching convoy had now reached a critical distance from the compound, and Sarah could see through her scope that the SEAL team was running out of time to complete their extraction before being cut off. The lead vehicle was approximately 2 kilometers away and closing rapidly, with dust clouds indicating additional vehicles following behind. Her calculations showed that at current speeds, the enemy reinforcements would arrive at the compound within minutes of when the assault team planned to begin their withdrawal. Chief Thompson's voice crackled through the radio with urgent but controlled instructions for the team to accelerate their timeline and prepare for immediate extraction. Sarah maintained her overwatch position while tracking both the compound activities and the approaching threat, providing continuous updates on the convoy's progress and composition. Through her scope, she could count at least 6 vehicles carrying what appeared to be a significant number of personnel who would overwhelm the small SEAL team if they arrived before the extraction could be completed. The SEAL team's professionalism showed as they adapted to the compressed timeline without losing tactical effectiveness. Sarah watched them complete their primary objectives within the compound, while simultaneously preparing defensive positions to cover their withdrawal route. Their movements remained coordinated and purposeful, despite the increased pressure, demonstrating the kind of adaptability that separated elite operators from conventional forces. Sarah's position provided the perfect vantage point for observing the entire tactical situation as it developed. The compound lay spread out below her, with the SEAL team's positions clearly visible through her scope, while the approaching convoy could be tracked along the valley road that would bring them directly to the facility. Her ability to monitor both areas simultaneously made her the critical link for coordinating the team's response to this evolving threat. The first vehicle in the convoy was now close enough for Sarah to identify specific details about its occupants and equipment. She reported these observations to Chief Thompson, noting the apparent command and control capabilities that suggested this was a well-organized force rather than a casual patrol. The intelligence would help the ground team understand the nature of the threat they were facing and plan their response accordingly. Radio communications became more frequent as the situation reached its critical phase, but training and discipline kept the traffic clear and focused on essential information. Sarah found herself serving as the primary source of intelligence about the approaching threat, while the SEAL team focused on completing their mission within the compound. Her reports provided the situational awareness necessary for tactical decision-making under extreme time pressure. The convoy's lead vehicle was now less than 1 kilometer from the compound, moving at a speed that would bring it within direct fire range within minutes. Sarah could see that the SEAL team was nearly ready to begin their extraction, but the timing would be extremely close. Her continuous updates on the convoy's progress allowed Chief Thompson to make precise calculations about when to initiate the withdrawal to avoid being trapped. Through her scope, Sarah observed the SEAL team beginning their extraction procedures while maintaining security positions to cover their movement. The coordination and mutual support they displayed under pressure reinforced her respect for their professional capabilities. Each team member knew exactly what to do and when to do it, creating smooth tactical flow despite the complex and dynamic situation. The approaching convoy presented multiple vehicles with different capabilities and threat levels, requiring careful analysis to determine the most dangerous elements. Sarah's training in target identification and threat assessment proved valuable as she provided detailed reports on each vehicle's characteristics and potential capabilities. This intelligence helped the ground team prioritize their defensive preparations and resource allocation. Weather conditions remained favorable for observation and potential engagement, with clear skies and minimal wind that would support accurate long-range shooting if necessary. Sarah had positioned herself to take advantage of the optimal lighting conditions while maintaining concealment from both the compound and the approach route being used by the convoy. Her fieldcraft training kept her hidden despite the elevated activity level in the area. The SEAL team's extraction began just as the convoy's lead elements came within visual range of the compound. Sarah watched the carefully choreographed withdrawal unfold, while simultaneously tracking the enemy vehicle's approach to determine if intervention would be necessary. The timing was proving to be extremely close, with success or failure potentially determined by minutes or even seconds of difference. Chief Thompson's tactical leadership became evident as he coordinated the team's movements while managing the threat from the approaching convoy. His calm voice on the radio provided reassurance and clear direction, even as the situation became increasingly complex and time-sensitive. Sarah found herself drawing confidence from his professional demeanor and clear thinking under pressure. The convoy's lead vehicle reached the compound's perimeter, just as the last SEAL team members were clearing the facility. Sarah maintained her overwatch position while providing continuous updates on both the team's progress and the enemy force's disposition. Her elevated position allowed her to observe developments that neither the ground team nor the approaching convoy could see, making her intelligence critical for everyone's safety. Radio protocols required Sarah to maintain communication discipline, even as the situation became more dynamic and potentially dangerous. Her reports remained concise and focused on actionable intelligence, while avoiding unnecessary chatter that could interfere with the team's coordination. The training in brevity codes and clear communication proved essential for maintaining effective command and control under stress. The SEAL team's movement toward their extraction point required them to traverse terrain that could potentially expose them to observation or fire from the arriving convoy. Sarah's overwatch position provided security for this movement, while her communications kept them informed of any threats that might develop along their route. Her role was evolving from passive observation to active support for the team's tactical operations. The convoy had now fully arrived at the compound and was beginning to deploy personnel to investigate the facility. and search for the assault team. Sarah observed these activities while tracking the SEAL team's progress toward their extraction point, providing intelligence that helped both avoid contact and maintain awareness of potential pursuit. The exercise scenario was reaching its climax, with success depending on precise timing and coordination. Through her scope, Sarah could see that the SEAL team was making good progress toward their extraction point, despite the challenging terrain and time pressure. Their training and physical conditioning allowed them to maintain rapid movement while carrying full equipment loads, demonstrating the comprehensive preparation that made special operations possible. Her own position remained secure, providing continued overwatch and communication support. The approaching convoy's search of the compound was becoming more organized and systematic, suggesting that pursuit of the extraction team might begin soon. Sarah's observations of these activities provided early warning that allowed the ground team to adjust their route and timing accordingly. Her intelligence gathering was proving as valuable during the extraction phase as it had been during the initial assault, maintaining her critical role in the mission's success. The situation reached a critical turning point when Sarah observed through her scope that elements of the enemy convoy were beginning to organize a pursuit of the SEAL team. Several vehicles had left the compound and were moving along routes that could potentially intercept the extraction team before they reached their designated pickup point. The tactical picture was becoming increasingly complex, requiring immediate decisions about priorities and resource allocation. Sarah's elevated position provided the perfect vantage point for tracking both the SEAL team's movement toward extraction and the enemy force's attempts to pursue them. Her scope's magnification allowed her to observe details that radio communications alone could not convey, making her eyewitness reports essential for tactical decision-making. The pink rifle that had once drawn skeptical comments was now proving its worth as a precision instrument in the hands of a skilled operator. Chief Thompson's voice came through the radio with instructions for Sarah to maintain overwatch, while the team continued their movement toward the extraction point. The enemy pursuit was developing faster than anticipated, and her intelligence would be crucial for determining whether the team could reach safety or would need to implement alternative plans. The weight of responsibility felt heavier, as Sarah realized that her observations might determine the mission's ultimate success or failure. Through her scope, Sarah could see that the pursuing vehicles were following predictable routes that took advantage of the terrain's natural travel corridors. This pattern suggested that the enemy forces were familiar with the area and were using standard tactics for pursuit operations. Her training in enemy capabilities and tactics helped her anticipate their likely movements and provide early warning. To the extraction team, the SEAL team's progress toward their pickup point was steady but challenging due to the rough terrain and the need to maintain stealth while moving rapidly. Sarah tracked their movement while simultaneously monitoring the pursuing forces, providing continuous updates that allowed Chief Thompson to make informed decisions about route selection and timing. Her ability to observe both elements simultaneously made her an invaluable asset for coordination and tactical planning. Radio communications revealed that the extraction helicopter was approaching the designated pickup point according to schedule, but the developing pursuit situation could complicate the extraction process significantly. The aircraft would be vulnerable during landing and takeoff operations, making precise timing essential for avoiding contact with enemy forces. Sarah's observations would be critical for determining the optimal moment for the helicopter to commit to the landing. The pursuing enemy vehicles had now spread out across multiple routes, creating a more complex threat pattern that required careful analysis and reporting. Sarah identified the different elements and their apparent objectives while calculating their likely arrival times at various intersections with the extraction route. Her mathematical skills and tactical training combined to provide accurate predictions that helped the ground team avoid potential ambush. Site's weather conditions continued to favor observation and potential engagement, with excellent visibility that allowed Sarah to track movements across the entire area of operations. The clear skies also meant that the extraction helicopter would have good flying conditions, but would also be more visible to enemy forces if they managed to get within visual range of the pickup point. Every factor needed to be considered in the complex calculus of successful extraction. The SEAL team's physical conditioning and tactical discipline were evident as they maintained rapid movement through challenging terrain while carrying full equipment loads. Sarah observed their progress with growing respect for their professional capabilities and dedication to mission success. Their ability to maintain coordination and mutual support, while under pressure from pursuing forces, demonstrated the kind of excellence that made special operations possible. Through her scope, Sarah could see that the timing between the team's arrival at the extraction point and the pursuing forces' convergence on the area would be extremely close. Her calculations suggested that success would depend on precise coordination and possibly some degree of luck regarding the enemy force's route selection and speed. The margin for error was becoming vanishingly small as all elements converged on the same general area. Chief Thompson's tactical leadership continued to impress Sarah as he managed multiple variables while maintaining clear communication and decisive action. His ability to process information rapidly and make sound decisions under extreme pressure exemplified the kind of leadership that enabled special operations success. Sarah found herself learning valuable lessons about command and control simply by observing his professional performance. The enemy pursuit was now close enough to pose a direct threat to the extraction operation, requiring immediate decisions about whether to proceed with the original plan or implement contingency measures. Sarah's observations provided the intelligence necessary for these critical decisions, making her role even more important as the mission reached its climax. The pink rifle's optics gave her clear views of developments that could determine everyone's safety. Radio traffic increased as the situation became more dynamic. But discipline and training kept communications focused on essential information. Sarah's reports remained concise and actionable, while providing the detailed intelligence necessary for tactical decision-making. Her ability to maintain clear thinking and professional performance under pressure was proving as valuable as her marksmanship skills. The extraction helicopter appeared on the horizon, approaching the designated pickup point according to the predetermined timeline. Sarah could see both the aircraft and the pursuing enemy forces converging on the same general area, creating a tactical situation that would require perfect timing and coordination to resolve successfully. Her overwatch position made her the critical link between all elements as they prepared for the mission's final phase. Through her scope, Sarah observed the SEAL team reaching the extraction point perimeter, just as the pursuing vehicles came within potential contact range. The timing was proving to be as close as her calculations had predicted, with success or failure potentially determined by seconds rather than minutes. Her continuous intelligence updates would be essential for coordinating the final extraction sequence while avoiding contact with enemy forces. The pink rifle that had once been a source of skepticism was now simply another professional tool in a complex military operation, its performance and Sarah's skill in employing it having proven their worth through demanding field conditions. The distinctive appearance that had initially drawn comments was completely irrelevant compared to the weapon's capability and the operator's competence in using it effectively under pressure. The extraction helicopter touched down at the designated pickup point, just as the pursuing enemy forces reached positions where they could potentially engage the aircraft with small arms fire. Sarah's scope revealed the critical nature of the timing, as she observed the SEAL team emerging from concealment to board the helicopter, while enemy vehicles approached from multiple directions. Her calculations had been accurate, but the margin for success was measured in seconds rather than minutes. Chief Thompson's team executed their extraction with the same precision they had demonstrated throughout the mission, moving rapidly but safely toward the waiting aircraft while maintaining security and mutual support. Sarah tracked their progress while simultaneously monitoring the approaching enemy forces, providing real-time updates that allowed the helicopter crew to make informed decisions about departure timing and flight path selection. Through her scope, Sarah could see muzzle flashes from enemy positions as the pursuing forces attempted to engage the extraction helicopter during its departure. The range was extreme for small arms fire, but the volume of incoming rounds created a dangerous environment that required immediate response. Her elevated position provided clear observation of the enemy firing positions, making her the natural choice for providing precision counterfire if authorized. The radio crackled, with Chief Thompson's voice requesting immediate suppression of enemy positions that were engaging the extraction helicopter. Sarah's scope was already trained on the primary threat locations, and her finger moved to her rifle's trigger as she prepared to engage targets at ranges exceeding 4,000 meters. The pink rifle's precision optics and her careful preparation during the mission made accurate engagement possible, despite the extreme distance. Sarah's first shot struck near the lead enemy vehicle, sending up a cloud of dust and debris that caused the occupants to seek cover and temporarily cease their fire on the helicopter. The distinctive crack of her rifle echoed across the valley, announcing her presence and capability to enemy forces who had not previously been aware of her position. The tactical situation was shifting rapidly as new elements entered the engagement. The extraction helicopter was climbing away from the pickup point, but enemy fire was still posing a threat to its safety and the mission's success. Sarah adjusted her aim and fired again, this time scoring a direct hit on one of the pursuing vehicles and effectively neutralizing that firing position. Her training and equipment were proving their worth in the most demanding circumstances possible. Validating years of preparation and dedication, radio communications confirmed that the SEAL team was safely aboard the extraction aircraft and that the immediate threat to their safety was decreasing as the helicopter gained altitude and distance from the enemy positions. Sarah's precision fire had provided the crucial suppression needed to ensure a successful extraction, demonstrating the value of long-range marksmanship in supporting special operations missions. The enemy forces began responding to Sarah's fire by attempting to locate her position and return fire in her direction. Her elevated position and excellent concealment made this difficult, but the volume of fire directed toward her general area indicated that she had gained their full attention. The pink camouflage pattern that had once been criticized was now helping to break up her silhouette against the rocky terrain. Sarah's third shot struck another enemy position with devastating accuracy, causing the remaining pursuers to abandon their vehicles and seek cover in terrain that offered protection from her elevated firing position. The demonstration of precision and range had effectively ended the enemy's ability to threaten the extraction operation while showcasing capabilities that exceeded their expectations for the training exercise. Colonel Harrison's voice came through the radio with instructions for Sarah to cease fire and prepare for her own extraction, indicating that the primary mission objectives had been successfully completed. The exercise controllers were impressed with the tactical innovation and marksmanship skills that had resolved the complex extraction scenario, and wanted to ensure that all personnel were safely recovered before conducting detailed debriefings. Chief Thompson's helicopter returned to extract Sarah from her overwatch position, demonstrating the SEAL team's commitment to leaving no one behind and their recognition of her critical contributions to the mission's success. As the aircraft approached her position, Sarah quickly secured her equipment and prepared for pickup, feeling a sense of satisfaction at having proven herself in the most demanding circumstances possible. The helicopter extraction went smoothly, with Sarah boarding the aircraft and joining the SEAL team for the flight back to the training facility. The atmosphere aboard the helicopter was one of professional satisfaction and mutual respect, with team members acknowledging her performance and discussing the lessons learned during the complex mission scenario. The pink rifle was no longer a source of curiosity or skepticism, but simply another piece of professional equipment that had performed excellently when called upon. During the flight back to base, Chief Thompson approached Sarah to discuss her performance and the impact of her precision fire on the mission's success. He expressed genuine appreciation for her contributions and acknowledged that her marksmanship skills had been essential for achieving the training objectives. The conversation marked a complete transformation in the team's attitude toward both Sarah and her unconventional equipment choices. Colonel Harrison was waiting at the landing zone when the helicopter returned, eager to conduct immediate debriefings while the events were still fresh in everyone's minds. His expression indicated satisfaction with the exercise results and interest in the innovative tactics that had emerged during the mission. Sarah prepared herself for detailed questioning about her decision-making and performance. During the critical engagement phase, the debriefing session revealed that Sarah's longest successful engagement had been at a range of approximately 5,000 meters, significantly exceeding the distances typically associated with military sniper operations. The precision and effectiveness of her fire at such extreme range had impressed not only the SEAL team but also the exercise observers and senior leadership who had been monitoring the mission's progress. Word of Sarah's exceptional marksmanship began spreading through the special operations community as participants shared their experiences, From the training exercise, the pink rifle that had initially drawn skeptical comments was now being discussed as an example of how individual equipment modifications could enhance operational effectiveness when combined with superior skill and training. The SEAL team's attitude toward Sarah underwent a complete transformation, with team members expressing genuine respect for her professional capabilities and requesting opportunities to work with her in future training exercises. Chief Thompson specifically mentioned that her combination of marksmanship skills and tactical intelligence made her an ideal addition to special operations missions, requiring precision fire support. Sarah felt a deep sense of accomplishment as she reflected on the mission's events and her role in its successful completion. The journey from initial skepticism about her pink rifle to genuine professional respect from elite operators represented more than just a training achievement. It demonstrated that excellence in performance could overcome preconceptions and that unconventional approaches could prove their worth when backed by skill and dedication. The pink rifle that had once been mocked was now recognized as a symbol of precision and effectiveness, carried by an operator whose skills had been proven under the most demanding circumstances possible. Sarah's 5,000-meter shot had not only alerted the commander to her exceptional capabilities, but had also established her reputation as one of the military's most skilled precision marksmen, regardless of equipment color or conventional expectations.